Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. I want to share with you some tips and tricks today on how to lift an everyday outfit into something that feels more interesting. When I say interesting, I definitely don't mean cutting edge or experimental, more something that makes me want to look twice at the outfit and see a detail that I wasn't quite expecting. My very first tip here is to contrast and juxtapose different vibes and looks together. I usually like to approach this by contrasting feminine and masculine looks together, and then also mixing very dressy pieces with very casual pieces. So in this look, I decided to combine this everyday basic look with something that is a bit more glam and a bit more statement. The pearl earring always reminds me of something a little bit more elegant, something a bit more feminine, so I really like the contrast of this elegance against something that feels very everyday and functional. I decided to have another play around with the same outfit and I threw on a tan blazer. I really love that this is a very oversized blazer, so it has a more modern look, and we're combining that with something that is very timeless, such as the pearl. I got a little bit carried away with this look and also threw on the checkered blazer just to show you what that looks like. You can see that no matter what blazer you might have in your wardrobe, it is very easy to recreate and get a similar vibe. And even with the pearl earring, it doesn't have to be an earring. It can be a necklace, it can be a bracelet or ring. Just anything pearl, I think in this example, will do. We're still on outfit number one. You can probably tell I'm a big fan of this one. But I also went for a look where I'm styling a trench coat. Combined with the lace-up boots and the jeans, this whole look is very functional without a lot of fuss. Starting with this base, I then added a scarf, which just adds a bit more of a decorative element to this outfit, and then of course the pearl earrings once again. Moving on to look number two now, we are combining daytime and nighttime wear together. Another way to look at this is combining something more dressy with something more casual. The item I'm styling is this black dress made from a silk material. Even though I think it's perfectly fine to wear a dress like this for the daytime, it does have some nighttime inspired elements, from the v-neck to the silk material to just how long and drapey it is. It very much reminds me of an elegant evening dress. To match with that, we've got a casual striped knit which perfectly contrasts the silk for a little bit of subtle interest. Here are some more examples of mixing an elegant silk material with some more casual tops. In my second point, I want to talk about pre-loved clothing and what that can do to make outfits feel more interesting. This Tibi blazer is something I found pre-loved on Vestiaire, and I just absolutely adore it because it's got a lot of cool details that I just don't think high street brands would bother adding in. I really like this checkered print. The other thing I really love is this zip at the back. So I think it's really cool. It's not that I'll use the zip. I really think I'll keep the zip here, just like a normal vent. But I like the look of it and I think it's quite interesting. There are a lot of pre-loved gems out there with exceptional attention to detail and thought in the design. So this item came to $80, which is still much less than something I would buy new, even at a store like Zara. In Australia, a Zara blazer would set you back about $100 to $200, and I don't think the quality would be the same. I like to style this blazer with a girly feminine silhouette on the inside, using the last tip I talked about to create a nice contrast in the look. Otherwise, for an easy everyday look, I'll probably just reach for some straight leg jeans or trousers for a modern but simple outfit. Another pre-love item that I've recently added to my wardrobe is this scarf. This is a very large square-shaped scarf, and this square shape is actually one of my favorites, especially when it's in a lighter drapey material. The reason why I love it is that you can easily wear it as a scarf like I showed earlier, but you can also wear it draped around you, and I feel like it gives such an elegant look for the daytime. It's kind of taking inspiration from like nighttime shorts, but I love wearing it with the more casual daytime looks as well. I've got on a base layer in this outfit that is so incredibly simple, and I feel like the scarf just takes all the attention in this look. Another example I've got for you is antique jewelry. This is something that I've been talking a lot more about lately, even though it's something I've been very interested in for a couple of years now. The thing about antique jewelry is, like the other two things, they just look a little bit different to what you can find in store. I found myself often looking for vintage jewelry designs, and instead of looking for new things made in vintage designs, I thought the obvious thing would then be to just find vintage pieces. For the necklace I show, it's a Victorian fob pendant, and it's just got a bloodstone and a carnelian stone that basically rotates. I wear this pendant with a simple black blazer look. It honestly just makes it so much more interesting because it is honestly 200 years old. I completely understand that this ornate style of jewelry is not going to be for everyone. In that case, a great option to look into is Art Deco jewelry, which often has very clean lines and simple geometric shapes. My third tip for creating an interesting look is to pay equal attention to silhouette and fabric compared to print and color. I love using print and color, but an alternative to keep in mind, which is equally as important, is silhouette and fabric. It's a great tool, especially when you're looking to express your style in a more subtle, everyday way. So I'm gonna firstly start with this blouse. When it comes to styling this, I decided to play around with the silhouette and just go really wide for this outfit. I went for a pair of barrel leg jeans, which are quite wide, and this blouse is quite voluminous, just because I wanted to recreate a more kind of free-spirited kind of look with this blouse. Instead of wearing it as a full sleeve, I decided just to roll it up so it's a more loose 3/4 sleeve, and that definitely made a difference. I also undid a few buttons just so it felt a bit more open and free around the neckline. Before I made these little updates to the silhouette of this top, I found that it felt a bit stuffy just because of all the material that was happening in this outfit. By undoing the buttons, rolling up the sleeves, creating a looser blouse silhouette, I think it creates a more effortless look that I was trying to go for in this outfit. The wider jean here is also an experiment with silhouette, as my usual go-to will be a straight leg jean. The straight leg would be more of a classic look, but with the wider option here, it's a bit more fun and experimental, as it's not something I would normally reach for as often or as naturally. I really like to challenge myself these days to play with silhouettes more, and this is a good example. In my next look, I'm paying a lot more attention to fabric as opposed to using print and color. The outfit is centered around this particular knit that I'm wearing, which has this really cool boucle fabric to it, which I think just feels really interesting, despite it still being monochromatic. This is more of a bulky and chunky knit, so even though I really love the fabric, it's not necessarily the most flattering shape, so I paired it with something that was more tapered on the trouser. I really enjoyed the balance that the silhouette gives in this outfit, so chunky on top, more tapered on the bottom, and I also like that we're using fabric here to create more interest in the look as opposed to just color and print. My tip number 4 for creating more interesting outfits is to learn and to observe others. So this is where recreating outfits comes in, because it's something that I've been doing a lot more this year, and I feel like my style has definitely gotten better because of that. When I didn't do this, I pretty much only had my own ideas to work off, and that's just like this much. Whereas now I'm exposed to so many people's style, and it's just given me ideas that I would not have thought of. I think learning from others and then picking and choosing what we like from those outfits is so important for developing better outfits, because we just see more things, we get more ideas, and that just equals better outfits. So what's happened with my style lately is that I've noticed that I've been creating some outfits I've seen in the past without even knowing it. I recently created these two outfits I have up on the screen, and they're very simple looks, but they're also very much influenced by some of the looks that I've pinned on Pinterest. One example is this outfit I'll put up on the screen, where the girl is wearing a wider trouser and then you can see the top of the ankle boot. This is a length of trouser that I've really come to love, and I definitely think that I've learned this by looking at photos of how other people wear their jeans. Another thing is even the color palette of these two outfits are actually quite similar, even though we're using very different pieces. And I feel like all of this has actually just come from seeing and learning about other people's outfits online. In our wardrobe, sometimes we get so used to styling things in a certain way that when we see it styled by someone else, it just triggers and sparks lots of inspiration for us to create more interesting outfits with what we already have. Another example is when it comes to print mixing. Print mixing is something that I'll occasionally dabble in, and it can be quite fun. I think it's really fun to mix a dainty floral and stripes together. So you see me style this striped knit with this midi skirt, and I really think that without the inspiration, without the ideas I got online, these are not really the two pieces that I would have thought about wearing first. There are so many other outfits I would have created instead, but this is just one more look that I can add to my wardrobe. My final tip for this video today is to know how to style all the clothes in your wardrobe and have go-to looks that you can reach for. This helps me create more interesting outfits because I can focus my energy in the morning on how to elevate a look instead of starting from scratch. In a practical way, those extra few minutes in the morning can mean we spend that time experimenting and creating looks that are a little bit more thoughtful. This is a jacket that I've worn quite often, and it's a really bold electric blue. But I know that I love to wear this with black and white because it is so bright. I also know that it's got these tortoiseshell buttons in this really warm brown color, so sometimes pairing it with a warmer brown shade can also look quite cool, even though this is such a cool kind of electric blue jacket. So in the outfits, you'll see that I style it with black, and I love the way it looks, whether it's a slip dress or a midi skirt. I think something in black just makes this outfit look really modern, because this is kind of like a really artificial looking blue color that it just suits the black for a really sleek modern look. I also wear it with cream in the trouser as well as a cream sweater because I think both of these looks tie in with the button really well, and it uses that warmth to bring out those buttons a little bit more. For a more colourful look, I like the electric blue with a magenta pink because they're both really bright and vibrant colours. A softer pink is also very pretty to contrast with the bold blue. I also know that for my own style, I don't like pairing it with corduroy trousers or any material that has too much stiffness or structure to it. It becomes a bit too masculine for what my style is, and I prefer it in the other ways that I've styled it. So knowing this, I can start with these ideas in the morning and then to experiment from there rather than starting from scratch and thinking what colors should I pair, what outfits should I wear. I just kind of already know. In a similar way, this is a newer jacket, so this is a jacket where I'm still learning how to style it. So far I've just worn it with very classic outfits like with blue jeans. I've also worn it with a black midi skirt. These are really safe and classic options, but I'm sure that as I play around with it more, I'll figure out some ways that I really like to wear it that I may not know right now. My last example is this gorgeous knit from the Curated. It is so incredibly soft, it's amazing. But I do not wear this knit as often as a lot of my other knits, and that's because I didn't really take that much time to figure out how I like to wear it. So I took some time and figured out that I like to wear this with something that isn't too wide on the bottom. So I went for the navy trousers that I've shown a lot in this video because they are a little bit more on the slim side as opposed to some of my other options around. Because it does tie at the hip, I think it's just more flattering and more balanced when the bottom is not super wide. So with this sweater, I now know that I don't really love to wear it with anything too wide or voluminous on the bottom. So even for a midi skirt, I don't love how much fabric there is on the bottom. I also really don't like how it looks with the barrel trousers that I really like to wear lately. So for me personally, I really like to know how to style each item, so I'm never starting from scratch. And my question in the morning when I'm getting ready is always, how can we elevate this look, as opposed to running around thinking about which silhouettes look best with this item, and now instead focus on what I can do to make it more stylish and look more interesting. Those are my 5 tips for this video. You guys have been leaving me very lovely comments on how my style is improving, and I really think that these are some of the tips that have helped my style improve over the last year. If you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, or got some style inspiration, I would love for you to go hit the like button down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.